Good afternoon, everyone. This is Marcellus Joyner, and welcome to the sixth episode of Blackademia and Hip-Hop Culture featuring the brother, Billy Allen. Billy, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. If I'm remembering correctly, if I'm remembering something that I read or seen, you are a Central Eagle.
Yes, I am Eagle Pride.
Eagle
Eagle Pride.
Pride.
You feel me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
So first and foremost, man, thank you for having me on the platform, brother. Big fan of your work. I'm Billy Allen. I am the branch manager of Whitney Library for the Las Vegas Clark County Library District. I've been a librarian for 8.5 years. I'm a proud graduate of Lincoln University of Missouri, and I got my MLS from North Carolina Central University. I love what I do. I'm actually from North Carolina,
All right.
Salem, grew up in Charlotte. So yeah, I got a platform, Three King Visions, where we help kids develop the lifelong love of reading through story time, where I incorporate hip hop and R&B into literacy. So yeah, man, it's the ultimate way of giving back.
Okay. Now, with that being said, first, before we move on, you say you went to Lincoln, right?
Yeah,
So we have to distinguish the Lincolns because there's one in the South and one up north. So
we
you
the real LU.
you the real one.
We the real LU, man. Blue and white, man. Lincoln Knights. Hey, tell them stop playing, man. Come on.
Just how Ohio State has to distinguish it like the Ohio State, that y'all are the Lincoln.
LU. They know.
That means you know my mentor Jerome Oford.
I
You
do so. I don't know
you
tomorrow.
cross paths. My mentor and my frat brother.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's my mentor too. He actually got me into librarianship. Yeah. So
word.
yeah, I thought small worlds, how we all linked up together.
Yes, sir. Jerome is a man. He helped me out a lot. Especially early when I was in grad school. I'm always gonna give him props and give him his flowers, and I really appreciate that, brother.
He changed my life, man.
Yes, sir. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into the questions. In what ways do you incorporate hip hop culture into library programs or events to engage the community?
So, first and foremost, I think it's important, obviously, with Black men being the minority in the profession, where, I felt like this was an opportunity where I could always be myself. I'm heavily influenced by hip hop. This is the culture. And when you're dealing with the community, especially like in Las Vegas, and I lived in Florida as a librarian where I worked there, where we got a diverse community. And a lot of times in our profession, people do not know how to relate to people. In hip hop, brings everybody together. So I leverage my upbringing as far as how to connect with people, especially when you're talking to Black and Hispanics or people of color. So I think as far as programming, I do hip hop story time. I feel like, especially in the Black community, when you're talking about streamlining the school to prison pipeline, eliminating that, kids of color, Black kids need to see Black people holding books and also just making the library fun in general. And just, I feel like the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I know how to engage with them, that's establishing rapport. First and foremost, like you could do a program all day about hip hop. If you ain't got no rapport with the community, from the adults to the teens to the kids, well, you ain't not going to connect with them. So doing hip hop story times, but also like for instance, this year we had a hip hop architecture camp, right?
Wow.
And it was pretty dope because Lupe Fiasco created a artificial intelligence app called TextFX. So we had kids come into my branch. I had about 125 teams, and they created bars, 16 bars using AI, and they had to perform it in a cipher. It was legendary, man. So they performed it in the teen zone, and they keep asking about this program. I gave away Dre beats and stuff like that, and they had to rap about stuff going on in their community. So you get that social commentary, but also they get to rap and get to be creative. So we do a lot of that. My library district, our executive director, Kelvin Watson, allowed me to lead the 50th anniversary of hip hop programming throughout my library district. So we were able to book artists from different platforms to perform in our community. Um, that was a great way to bring in young adults because a lot of times you hear in libraries they talk about what about the 25 to 40 year olds? How can we get them in the library? Well, you gotta bring hip hop into play. And I've been fortunate, bro, that I have a concert hall in my library where we could do hip hop concerts, which we do. We do talent shows to showcase talent. And I'm a big battle rap fan. So I'm able to leverage some of the battle rappers to come speak to my community. And that's been dope. So I feel like I just have a unique approach of just embracing my culture to influence my community.
That's awesome, man. Because just from some of the things you said, you included STEM.
Yeah,
Whether the kids realize it or not, by using the AI app, that's inserting STEM in such a way where it's not where it's being forced on them. It's being incorporated and it's natural. It's being used as a tool. But like you say, you're also making it fun for them as well. Because I think people engage in activities more when it's less pressure, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying, and it's relating to something that's familiar to you. Um Something that almost comes natural because just as you said, you look at the age range now, myself, and I've said this in the other interviews I've conducted that hip hop is maybe like a couple of months older than me.
right, right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying? So I've seen every iteration of its growth and as its progress. So, who knew in the 70s that we'd be talking about artificial intelligence as related to hip hop and teaching children or even teaching children
right.
and relating it to hip hop.
Well,
So
you talk about generational connections where, like I'm 40, where, we're in that age range where hip hop, we grew up with hip hop. So like when you do a hip hop story time, what I do when I'm doing an instrumental and I'm doing a read aloud, yeah, the beat creates nostalgia with the parent or the caregiver. And then the kid is getting fun, getting an experience because, I'm reading a book to a hip hop beat. It sounds catchy, but they have no clue. So you're just bridging the gap as far as creating experiences.
can you share a specific instance where hip hop played a role in fostering a sense of inclusivity, diversity within the library?
Yeah, I mean, library's supposed to represent everybody. And if you don't have people that don't represent hip hop, how can you promote it? You know what I'm saying? And hip hop ain't just rap music. It's a culture. If you talk about the five elements of hip hop, when I was working in Broward County Libraries, I had a partnership with a company called Patch, where they focus on the five aspects of hip hop, the art of DJing, the art of breakdancing, the art of MCing, and they were having breakout sessions for the teens, and I used that for my teen empowerment stuff. How do you reel people in? Everybody listen to hip hop. It's the number one culture. And I think in our profession, because it's predominantly white and, predominantly white women, that they're not going to represent that culture. And if you're working in public libraries, or let's say you're working at a college where there's a lot of black students, how do you connect with them? You got to meet people where they at. And honestly, if you're not engulfed in hip hop, you're not going to be organically attractive to your customers or your patrons. You know what I'm saying? People know when you're culturally relevant. You can't teach culture. And I think that's the beauty of when you're engulfed in hip hop, it's a superpower, honestly.
So, how do you navigate potential challenges and controversies related to hip hop content in library setting?
I give you a good example. I give you a really good example. So when I first started Three King Visions, and I'm a storyteller, right? And my background is youth services, but I consider myself a complete librarian because I can do everything. So a lot of the librarians would say, "Oh, that's not story time because it involves hip hop." And I say, "What is music and movement story time? What is that?" when people use their ukuleles, use a guitar. Like, why are you trying to pigeonhole hip hop or try to not make it a part of music and movement? That's what it is. It's allowed me to think outside the box because I haven't seen nobody do it. So I was like, okay, that was some of the pushback where a lot of librarians and youth services think story time and youth services is just one linear way. It's not. And I think with hip hop, with me, I like to think outside the box. Why not? This is why you can't get teens and tweens to come to library programs. Or this is why when you're at a HBCU, you're not doing something culturally relevant to the community. You're supposed to be serving the needs of the community. So now luckily I got killed. He's been a big supporter of me pushing, hip hop into literacy, allowing me to be myself as a library leader. I've been managing 6 out of my 8 years. This is how I present myself as a leader because I am a part of the hip hop culture. So I'm been real gracious to have Kelvin work with me 95% of my career to, really believe in my appearance, but also inspire the community. It's important when people come in the library, they always say this cookie cutter saying, but it's important for people to see people that look like them. It's real. So I've experienced a lot as far as struggle, but now Las Vegas, we're hitting the ground running. I mean, we got a slogan called Free to Be. And if you really welcome everybody, you're going to see that. And I was teaching hip hop story times to my library district this past year. And I had white women really stepping outside their comfort zones doing hip hop story times. That's a win, you know?
Now, I'm glad you said that because I was going to follow up with a question ask, has your have your programs become more diverse? Because even though hip hop is predominantly and through its inception, you know, was more of the African American culture. We know over time, as it's become more of a staple, that all cultures have been engulfed and ingrained in it at some point, to the point now where it's the main genre. So you pretty much answered my follow-up question to that, as far as your programming becoming or drawing more of just not just us, but the community in general. You know what I'm saying?
You got to think about it. Well, because libraries is such a special entity where we welcome all walks of life. Why wouldn't you want to engage with your librarian or the library paraprofessional in a way where, like, you know what, that person, I can relate to them because they understand me. Why wouldn't you support that? And being that we are Black people, a minority in the profession, we need to have the support and have the confidence to fully embrace your culture. We're the only culture that get pushed back. But you also got to also, there's a learning lesson from the profession to teach them about culture too. They think they know, but then we have to learn about their culture. So why can't they learn about ours? And that's my approach. And will they ever get it? Probably not. But you're gonna see it.
Has your personal connection to hip hop impacted your approach to promoting literacy and education within the library? And I think you may have touched on it a little bit, so I'm going to say, can you expound on that?
Absolutely. I'm influenced by Nas, and great storyteller. That's my favorite MC of all
The
time.
greatest, the
The
greatest.
greatest, the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Like Talib Kweli, Common. But I'm a big battle rap fan. Huge battle rap fan from Loaded Lux, Murder Move, How the Dot. These all these guys follow me on Three King Visions, Arsenal, B Dot. These guys follow me because they're like, yo, this guy is incorporating the hip hop element to his story time, where story time is about performance, vocal projection, and really telling a story and performing a story. And I use that in my storytelling. So like when you see my story times, I'm catering to the camera. I'm using different cadences. I'm bringing the story to life. And I think that's what hip hop does, especially when you talk about storytelling. You know, I always, in comedians too, I'm looking at I study the Dave Chappelle's, I study the Eddie Murphys and stuff like that, the Lil Duvals, because you look at the timing, the pacing, the breath control. They're always pandering to the crowd, your confidence. it's a form of public speaking, and this is what hip hop has done for me to be like, okay, they've never taken this approach before as far as literacy. I don't think I'm the first, but I feel like I've been pushing hip hop on the forefront from librarians that you can do this, and from a kids literacy standpoint, even from I'm talking about kids in middle school. Like I got a group of middle school and high schoolers that come in once a week. They read a chapter book together, but they read it to hip hop instrumentals. Make reading fun. Why are we thinking literacy in one box? Make it a family experience. And that's the greatest impact. And also, I come in, like, I mean, I come in with the J's on. I come in, being me. And especially as a library leader, like, it's different. I don't wear suits when I come to work. That ain't me. And like, I come from hip hop. Like, I really believe in my culture, and it'll never leave me. So I'm in a profession now where we can kind of kick doors down to be like, look, this is who I am, but this doesn't change me as a profession.
Well, that's one thing that I liked about the library profession when I was in grad school. And I know we're talking specifically about our culture, but I saw that across the board. Like, s- how can I put it? I feel like librarians have the most leeway when it comes to personalities, backgrounds, and being themselves. I saw golf librarians, uh,
Yeah,
uh, emo. Is it emo? It's emo, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They
Just
got swag. Librarians got swag.
yeah. It's and it's from all different types of backgrounds. That's one thing that drew me in. Was like it's like yeah, I can be myself here, because I'm multifaceted. I'm not a monolith. I'm multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? I can be hip hop, but I can also throw on that three-piece suit and that bow tie. You know what I mean?
And
And
still be hip hop.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's the beauty of it, where us as librarians, we're in a unique era where, you know, we got to let people know what we do and what we represent. They're not meeting us like that on a regular. Like, and I'm pretty sure you get this all the time too. They don't meet no black male librarians. So to approach and be confident in your presentation and understanding your culture, that's everything. You're inspiring people you don't even know. And I think even from the adults, even our colleagues, they're inspired by that because, there's no, they're always thinking of the negative things that hip hop come with it. But look at the positive.
Yeah.
We're literally able to be creative, and we understand how to connect with more communities because we know how to deal with different situations. Um, Even like in public libraries, I'll give you a good example. We have a lot of incidents, people doing drugs,
Hmm.
people having mental health issues, dealing with the unhoused, so people just having bad days. How do you connect with people? How do you de-escalate situations? You got to be relatable. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
have a rapport. And I think I leverage me, coming from different backgrounds and being in different backgrounds in this profession to serve my community.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of people sleep on public libraries. Like our library has endeavored with a local pastor who addresses the homeless. He's been working with us probably for close to 5 years now, but we've also went into a collaboration with the University of Greensboro and North Carolina A&T's social work students. So we have social work interns that are here to help our homeless and those who are having mental and drug issues. But we've also hired a degreed and professional social worker as well to kind of work with them. So we have like a core group um who works with our entire library. So it's
It's important,
it's it
man.
is important, but it's amazing how many directions that a library can go in when it comes to providing services. It just doesn't stop with shoving a book in somebody's hand.
I mean, just to piggyback off of you, like, I mean, this is what libraries have evolved to, where, I'm out here in the community, like the young folks say, we outside with it, where, I got the mobile showers at my community. Like you got the social workers. Every second Wednesday, we got the social workers at Whitney Library. We got a record eviction sealing program
Hmm.
that, we have that once a month to give people second chances, especially in our community. People need second chances. Help them with housing assistance, food stamps, Medicaid, feeding the homeless, just feeding in the house. You don't know people's situations. And that's the approach where, even with hip hop, let's say you see the young brother man that's 23, 24 years old, maybe got kicked out the crib. You know what I'm saying? He needs to get himself together. And does he know to come to the library to get these resources? Does he even have someone he could come to talk to in a safe space? You know what I'm saying? That can understand and relate to them and talk that language.
Right.
Well, a lot of times you know this too. A lot of our conversation with our public, it'll be professional, but a lot of my stuff be off the record too.
Oh
Because you
yeah.
got to,
Oh yeah.
and that's how you build that rapport and connect with your community.
How do you balance preserving the traditional role of a library with embracing and the evolving culture landscape, especially in relation to hip hop?
It's funny because I tell my staff this all the time. I don't consider myself a traditional librarian. I think when I did my internship that Dr. Alford created in St. Louis and WashU in 2012, and it was me, my homeboy Bradley Kirkendall, my homeboy Gerard Moore. We were the first internship in regards to trying to recruit Black men. And I was the only one that wasn't sold on, right? Like, so we like midway through the internship, I was like, damn, I can do this, right?
Mhm.
And when I got my first librarian job as a youth services librarian, I was like, okay, I can approach literacy from a different perspective. And then when I started finding out I can really activate my community by building partnerships, really like a lot of my partnerships from the mobile shop, social workers, regular selling programs, performers, booking them, it's happened outside of the library. Because what's the first question people ask you? What do you do for a living? So when I kick that, and I'm a librarian, I'm able to explain that libraries are just more than books. And yes, we have them. I tell people, yes, we're always going to have books. That's never going nowhere. But also having stuff that's relevant for my community. And I think that's what attracted me to stay in public libraries for the longest because I love the community engagement. I love, I'm so thankful for Kelvin for allowing me to push the realms of thinking outside the box. Where now, like at my library starting February 1st, you're getting an exclusive. I'm going to be building my own independent author collection, a permanent library collection for independent authors because they need that support from different voices. We say libraries are about everybody, or we really? So we're allowed to do that. And why not serve the community? We're more like, we're not quiet no more. My library ain't quiet. It's on and popping when you come up in it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's a welcoming space where a lot of educators will come here. Like I got a performing arts coordinator that books strictly performers. So the library world, you don't just have to be a librarian. You can get in this profession and navigate through there. And I love it because this is the answer to the question for traditional libraries. You have to approach it from where we evolve
Mhm.
because with the attack on libraries, everybody needs to be advocates for libraries. People be like, oh man, that must be a boring job. That's when I just do my whole little spiel. And you'd be surprised when you're a walking library commercial about you will connect with everybody you talk to. Because people will be like, well, I don't read books. So what else you do for fun? Because it's gonna be something that you say that we got.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like maker spaces. That's
Yeah, we got a studio getting developed. Come on,
as
man.
as a matter of fact, I think ALA has just had that on the ballot, like it was sent out to get petition to have a section just for maker spaces, and I believe it passed because it needed 100 signatures, and I believe it has probably like 170 now. If I'm remembering the email correct, the email correctly. So I think that's going to happen in Philly, like it's going to become official in 2025.
Hi. I'll
Yeah.
be there. Me and Desmond London, my assistant branch manager, we're gonna be presenting.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Managing while black.
Can you share an example of a successful collaboration between the library and the local hip hop community?
So I mentioned when I was in, well, I mentioned this one this year. So we did a partnership with the Hip Hop Architecture. He called himself the Hip Hop Architecture King. And we did a hip hop architecture camp where, before I even get to the AI, the kids came in. It was all about community and service. So we had so many powerful people that was in the community that donated funds where we gave over 100 kids Dre Beats meals, but they also had to build it was a STEM activity where they had to build their own community as far as like what Nip did for his community, as far as like his clothing store. They had to build their own community using staples. And it was a STEM program. And they had to present it why they created this business. Why did they create this apartment complex or college? And they had to create hip hop lyrics through AI. So when they was performing it in a cipher, we got the bars playing in the background, and that brought the community together where, yeah, it was about my Whitney community, but people throughout Las Vegas came through. Usher was a part of a program that revamped the teen zone because of the hip hop architecture camp, where we got hip hop graffiti style carpet in our teen zone.
Wow.
Yeah, come on, and Lupe Fiasco supported it. So this is what we're doing. I did a special hip hop story time with brother Jamal Ramin and his library. He's doing big things where he brought KRS One out there. And we just built those partnerships where I got Master P coming soon,
Wow.
like, to talk about financial literacy and talk to people in an open forum in my concert hall. This is just a start. And we want to encourage our librarians that we can get these hip hop artists. We can get local hip hop community programmers and collaborators to come to the library and contribute. And that's the beauty of transitioning from a traditional library to where we are now. We are the staple of the community and keeping that culture and hip hop alive. Hip hop is only 50 years old,
Right. Still very young.
still very young. And think about it, it's endless opportunities where, why can't we bring Big Daddy Kane to the library?
Right.
Jamal brought Kid and Play to the library. Like, this is now feasible where we can bring, yeah, we can have Jason Reynolds be on the panel with potentially Talib Kweli, where I'm doing talent shows where we have a hip hop battles, but it's all positivity.
Right.
We did a hip hop podcast this year too with the teams talking about how hip hop influenced their life, you know, and talking about what they're dealing with because even the lyrics when they're talking about they're dealing with mental health and drugs more than ever.
Right. Right.
So you're creating safe space conversations through these programs and through outreach and bringing people inside the library.
Yeah, and it connects to generations. I know right now, when you have people who have grown up with the culture and they listen to some of the music and they don't and may not particularly like what they hear, well, you have to think of it this way as an adult and as someone who is probably the same age as hip hop or maybe a little older, why not listen to the lyrics and listen to what they are saying and tune into it to see, well, what's going on right now? How can I help you? What do you need from me as someone that's in that mentor age, that more mature hip hop head or b-boy or b-girl, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm hear what you're saying in the music. How can I help? How can I help you? Because that's all the music is telling like what's going on and what I'm going through right now. I mean, even if you don't like what you're hearing, like, okay, so you don't like what you hear, how can you get them out of that situation or lead them out of that
And
situation?
that could go to any other culture too.
Oh yeah,
Like for any lyrics that you hear in hip hop, I mean in country music, rock and roll, alternative, it's all subject matter and it's all subjective and it's how you absorb the information. So, again, like with us representing libraries and working in libraries, you got to have an open mind, right?
all
Just
right.
like people say people don't judge people, right? So I'm gonna give you a good example. Like when someone asks and they're looking for a book, you know, you may judge people when they read, but it's reader's advisory because you got to figure out what they like.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like when people come in, and I've had customers be like, man, what's more than hip hop books? and we got 'em, where I could lead them to maybe it's not even hip hop, it's a black exploitation book. You know what I'm saying? And then like, hey man, I got this program coming up, and it's an open mic program, or I got a hip hop financial literacy program that you can bring your kids out to as a family event. It opens up dialogue, and that's where I feel like our culture presents itself. And people always talk about DEIA. This is the definition of that.
Mhm.
And you want your staff members to be confident to represent themselves regardless of what cultural background.
Well, as hip hop developed and as the music and the creators of the music just didn't center in New York as it started to grow, everywhere that you start to hear artists from is telling a story from that particular part of the United States or overseas. I think back to when NWA came out and how controversial they were.
Yep.
I was hearing that, I was hearing what they were saying in the lyrics, and I was like, that's some of that's kind of harsh, because I think they hit the scene when I was like in the eighth grade. So
Hmm.
some of the things they were saying I could relate to because I was seeing it in my community, not as heavy as they were,
Right.
but you recognize that. But I'm also looking at it in the aspect of what's going on in Los Angeles, like for real, like why my people living like that? Like,
Well, I mean, we
you know,
showed straight out of Compton at my concert hall. You need to see it, so you get an understanding of what was going on. Like one of my
right,
librarians, she started a social justice book club strictly off of hip hop.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is like when we talk about this, we want to inspire our fellow colleagues it's okay to be confident in your culture. I'm not ashamed of who I am.
Right,
I feel like yourself and a lot of our colleagues that are black. Um, you can be yourself and navigate through this profession and still have the same impact that the other people have.
right. And there's another thing I say to my colleagues and my friends, like, I respect Auntie Maya Angelou and her poem, We Wear the Mask, but where we are right now, wearing that mask is not necessarily healthy. So let's stop, let's kind of break out of that a little bit and take it up to
Yeah,
the next level and show up as us.
you got to be yourself, and that's another thing about hip hop. It allows you authentically to be yourself. People know when you pump faking, so you should be yourself. And it's like you just said earlier in the interview, where this profession, when you're in library school, and when you start seeing some of your fellow colleagues, people are allowed a more flexibility of
Mhm.
showcasing their personality, leveraging their background, regardless if you're heterosexual or you come from the LGBT community or you're trans. I should have that same equal right to represent hip hop.
Right.
So that's my background. That's my culture. If you don't understand, there's also a learning moment from just the colleagues too to educate them. Because I always got to learn about y'all, but you need to learn about my culture too.
Exactly. How has hip hop music shaped your cultural identity and influenced the way you perceive the world around you?
I think if you see what's going on right now,
Yes,
um,
sir.
I think I never like to use like librarians being social activists. I think that's crazy. But I do think hip hop for me allows me to empower my voice as a librarian, to influence kids, influence even just adults that we trying to break barriers as far as how we present. Look, me, you don't look like the stereotypical librarian. So
Right.
we want to make it more of a norm for people that don't have to code switch when they talk or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And still be professional and then still give people that culture that they need. Because how many professions allow you to do this?
Right.
And that's why I'm so thankful that I became a librarian. Like Dr. Arthur changed my life, Kelvin Watson, Kiva Foster, Rudolph Clay,
Oh,
all,
Makiba too.
yeah, that's one of my mentors too. So like they all supported me and look, Billy, AJ, like you can do this. And when I told them I was gonna do the Three King Visions, they was like, I ain't never seen it done before. Do it. You know what I'm saying? So this is just an inspiration. This is bigger than us, because hip hop gonna be going on forever. It's gonna be another 50 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I'm still here, but if I'm long gone, us as librarians embracing hip hop is setting the foundation for future librarians and just the people in our community to know our culture is going to be inside the libraries that we have. And, it's beyond just having some music CDs.
Oh
It's
yeah.
beyond, having those programs where their voice can be heard. And our lyrics matter. You know what I'm saying? Streets disciple, my raps are trifle. I shoot slugs out my brain just like a rifle. This is what people are dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're seeing. This ain't just regular bars. This is real life. So, why not translate it into a positive thing? It is a positive thing, What Nas say on Illmatic, that whole 10-track album impacted my life.
Oh
I
yeah.
think one song, Nas' Second Childhood. I'm in the second half of my life. I'm seeing everything that he was saying to me when I was in high school when Stillmatic came out. So now I can project that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That Nas is like he's what I like to call a benchmark in hip hop where someone's lyrics takes the entire culture to the next level. Um
Yep.
prior before him it was Rakim.
Yep.
When Rakim hit the scene, everybody had to switch it up.
Yep.
It went from that to
Mhm.
it was something totally different because he's one of those people when his presence and the way he flowed when he steps on the scene or when he steps into a room, the atmosphere changes. You know,
Yep.
so there was Rakim, then there was Nas. So
But I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like my parents, I got relatively young parents. Like my dad's 63, my mom's 60.
mhm,
They grew up on hip hop too. So I grew up off the Chronic. I grew up off of Doggy Style,
yeah,
NWA. I grew up off of the Ghetto Boys,
yeah,
Scarface. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop is heavily influenced me. You know what I'm saying? Now, they was buying the music CDs when it first came out. My first hip hop CD that I bought that I really feel like is relative to my career is Reflection Eternal. From
wow,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a good
yeah,
one.
from Talib Kweli and High Tech. So, and then Commons like Water for Chocolate. Like these type of albums are transcendent that, I'm like, okay, I could spin the block back on these albums in a way to using the hip hop instrumentals to encourage the love of reading.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I did a story time on a classic book, bro. If you give a mouse a cookie, I read it to Big Daddy Kane's Ain't No Half Step. So when I'm listening to hip hop music now, bro, I be thinking my brain think different. I got a whole memo in my iPhone where it's like I'm gonna read this instrumental to this book, or I get ideas because I'm still heavily influenced by my culture. And that's where it spawns the creativity. There's no other culture that spawns that type of creativity. You know what I'm saying?
yes, sir.
Like, regardless how you spend it.
Yeah. Um, First rap song I ever heard was The Message. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and it was so crazy because I think back to it, and everything he was saying in that song, I was seeing. You know,
Yeah,
my family grew up in the MacDougal projects in Durham.
yeah, I
That
know.
yeah, yeah, my family was heavy in MacDougal and Few Gardens, MacDougal, Few Gardens, Lincoln Apartments, or LA as they call it. But everything in that song, I may not saw it like verbatim, but there were situations and things I seen that related. You know what I'm saying? Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm not trying to, I'm trying not to lose my head. It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy how I was relating to that song already now, and I was just 4 years old. I had already seen enough for that song to resonate with me. You know what I mean? And it still resonates today, just like going through my entire life and my family pushing themselves to continue to progress and do things to get out of that living situation. You know,
Well, think about it like this too with hip hop. Hip hop is now, and I talk about this all the time. when I'm talking to these teens, when they see you, they see myself and the other brothers, they're going to see a black man in a role outside of an athlete or a rapper. Well, I can let them know, look, bro, I live really good. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can manifest this and be yourself and still not switch up. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
can be culturally relevant and be professional. And now we can kick down doors where they can see people that look like them. You know what I'm saying? And it's so cliche, but you know what I'm saying? Like they have to connect with people. You know what I'm saying? And when you utilize this culture, you have to do it.
Are there any specific hip hop artists or subgenres that you feel a deep connection to, and why do they resonate with you on a personal level?
I would say battle rap, battle rap. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm a huge battle rap fan where, you know, this is literacy, this is poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it heavily influences how I storytell. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's granted me the ultimate confidence in public speaking because I'm always watching battle rap and how do I cater that into my storytelling? And I think as far as subgenres, that's the main one. But you can even take a step further for R&B. For R&B, as far as the passion and the lyrics, where I use a lot of old school '90s instrumentals in a lot of my Rito albums.
Okay.
And you know, just really encouraging parents. I talk to parents all the time. They're like, well, my seventh grade don't like to read. I said, if you read to an instrumental before, and I'll show them, I'll go to an instrumental and have them just read, and they're having fun. You gotta think outside the box, and I'm telling you, this is what it's allowed me to do, where I can use. I showed them battle rap. I seen the kids, and they was watching chess, you know, Easy the Black Captain, and I was like, okay, you know, they were talking about, well, you know, Easy the Black Captain, you know what I'm saying? He controversial with Remy Ma. I said, what you know about Remy Ma? You know what I'm saying? And they didn't even know I was a big battle rap fan. So I said, how about this? I need y'all to come to the team zone. So I want y'all to come up with some bars linked to the library. That's is a relationship. You know, so you gotta know how to connect. And I feel like it allows me versatility towards connecting with people. And then once again, you'd be surprised. Even your white counterparts. When you start talking about hip hop, because truth be told, a lot of the white people that work in this profession are big on real hip hop, 90s hip hop.
Yeah,
So
and
you're dealing with the
may know
backpackers.
more artists and producers than you do.
Right. Like I know one of my fellow colleagues in another library, he has a hip hop vinyl program collection.
Oh wow,
Customers are donating records. This one customer donated like almost 400 records, but it was all classic hip hop records. He turned it into a program.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
that's where it's transcendent. And that's where hopefully I answered the question as far as like the subgenres, but this is the magnitude of embracing hip hop culture.
Well, actually, man, he shoot that he may have made a niche for himself because he may be one of the only hip hop archivists, like a sure enough hip hop archivist that focuses strictly on vinyl.
Yeah, Carlos Marshall, he works in library administration at Dayton Metro Public Library with Bradley Kirkendall.
Hmm.
They got one going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's powerful. I mean, like, you got to understand how powerful. Even Brooklyn Public Library having Hove and Beyonce. Come
Bruh,
on.
it's kind of a sore spot for me right there because so me and my wife went to we went to New York to visit my brother-in-law, man, and we tried to go see it. It was the last weekend. Man, that line was so long. I God, we were out there like 2.5 hours, man, and didn't get anywhere near the door because the line was all the way around. You know, there's a park on this backside of the Brooklyn Library.
Mhm.
Bruh, the line was all the way around the park. It was crazy. We just gave up because we weren't gonna be able to get in
So they
there.
wouldn't even let y'all inside the branch.
You couldn't get in. That's how long the line was. It was all the way around the block. But what was so crazy was like all the vendors that came out. It was, man, it was an event. Like that shows how powerful this genre is, man, where someone wanted to come back to their home library, put up an exhibition, and it took on a life of its own. Can you imagine the statistics that they got?
Imagine the donations they got from
Oh
people.
yeah,
You know, that's we got to have more. And if you look at Jamar's leading the pack with that too. Shout out to my brother, like man, that dude's just doing legendary things, preserving hip hop. And then you could take it a step further as far as hip hop influencing sitcoms. You know, he had the whole cast of A Different World, come there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, Lorenz Tate, where I grew up on Men's Society and the Inkwell and Dead Presidents,
yeah,
where that's still hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we at with it, where we
yeah.
can, especially HBCUs, we got to preserve hip hop in HBCUs, especially in the library.
One side note about the Inkwell. The Inkwell is a movie that featured a historically black high school in Durham, North Carolina, Hillside.
Out of here.
The yes, the marching band in the Inkwell is Hillside High's marching band.
I know Hillside. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Word.
yeah. So the Inkwell is tied very closely to North Carolina.
That is crazy.
It was crazy when it happened because I remember it being in the newspaper, and then everybody was scrambling to see the movie because they were in it. But yes, the band that's in the movie is Hillside High School, Durham, North Carolina.
I just thought about something when we was talking. You was talking about like some of the pushbacks I've received embracing the hip hop. So when I was teaching, I'll tell you this is a real story too. When I was teaching the hip hop story time to my staff members in the district last year, so I had a librarian that was used to be my youth services department head, and and she see this, I don't care. So I I was talking about hip hop story time, and she was like, I mean, like, can you imagine Miss Judy trying to do that? She's 62 years old. I said, but she does every other story time. What's the difference? It's music and movement. I mean, how do you do it? I mean, all this stuff. I said, I can show you. I said, it's no different. I said, you pick a music to your liking and you just read the story. You don't even have to rap it. And I said, the fact that you're closed-minded means that you don't embrace hip hop culture. So I had to do that. This was a learning moment for her, where she said, "Well, I mean, I don't want to read none of that R. Kelly made. R. Kelly ain't hip hop.
Right. Exactly.
But they always try to bring everything together. Yeah, he's affiliated, but that was a learning moment to look. I'm not going to back down from embracing my culture, and you're going to learn because I have to learn how to do y'all stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like so. When people see this, bro, we want to encourage people to be yourself, and even particularly in youth services, because they always feel like everything's black and white. It should be done this. Like I don't do the bubblegum songs. I don't do none of that. I do me. And when the community embraces it, what you gonna say? Because
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know, and you're gonna get more respect because low key, like you said, everybody love hip hop for the most part.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
a different wavelengths. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You're like, oh, I love Nelly. I don't, but what I'm saying, like, but if you're going to embrace the culture, and I think as library leaders, if you're in the hip hop culture, don't be afraid to educate them on the culture. Like, I mean, when we had Lupe Fiasco, and people were like, "Well, I don't know who that is." I said, "Well, Google him." I know you heard some of his songs, and I played the Superstar song. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you know.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
He's a transcendent figure now. Like he's pretty much the hip hop grandfather. He
Snoop
took
Dogg,
over this year.
Snoop Dogg has been cool since we was little.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I think that's like even going to like my slogan, librarians are leaders of the new cool. I really believe in that because this hip hop is never gonna leave me. I love hip hop. I am hip hop. And when you embrace your culture, why embrace your culture once you get off of work when you clock out?
Right.
And
exactly,
this profession, bro, has allowed us to embrace our culture.
exactly. One thing I will say, and a reason why I know it's never going anywhere, I feel that hip hop shares a very close kinship with jazz. Me being a
Yeah.
historian, I like to point out that hip hop has gone through the same challenges and cycles as jazz has. And now jazz is like just ingrained in our society to the point where it's almost considered elevator music.
Yeah.
But you think about it and tell me if I'm wrong, but have you been shopping anywhere, just anywhere, and heard a rap song lately? Yes, you have.
Yeah. I heard Outcast Elevators the
Yes,
other day.
sir. So, we hip hop has moved into that space that jazz has as well. So it's a permanent fixture.
You
Whether
go to any bar, you go to any bar, you're gonna hear some hip hop.
Oh yes, sir.
And even outside the realm of let's go to R&B, I give you a good example. Genuine Pony is played in every restaurant and bar. Like it's it's a beautiful thing to see our culture being embraced. And I think the time is right now
Hmm.
because people always talk about diversity, and now our celebrities are embracing that and pushing it on the forefront. And
Right,
that's why I'm really big on athletes. I'm a big basketball junkie. And it irks my nerve when these athletes say they don't like reading because you got too much influence to be saying stuff like that, especially you're involved with the hip hop culture. James Harden, you say silly stuff like that. John Wall, you from North Carolina. Y'all saying silly stuff like that. And y'all hanging with Lil Baby. Y'all hanging with these people that got this type of influence on the kids.
right,
And when you say that, that's very impressionable. So I'm fighting this battle against y'all when I shouldn't even have that type of battle.
right.
As far as welcoming kids into the library, which we're gonna do our part anyway, man, because we know we're on the front line.
Yeah, with a keeper of what was my introduction to library science? We are the keeper of the book, which translate into we are the keepers of information,
For sure.
regardless of what medium it comes in. But
And it even need to be a hip hop, some form of hip hop class at Central. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that needs to, like Dr. Alford, when I was at Lincoln, we was the only HBCU that had the minor of library science. And it was like, honestly, bro, it probably like 8,200 people that listened to the minor, and only five of us did it. Actually follow through with it.
mhm,
So like, but that's a win. They need to see that profession, you know. It's more than you just sit behind the desk. They don't even know what we do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And why not start a conversation through hip hop?
Well, Billy, we are coming to the end of our interview. But what I've been doing at the end of the interviews is throwing a curveball to people and asking them what their top five is.
Okay.
That can be artist or producer.
Ooh, I'm gonna go top five producers because everybody do their top five MCs.
All right.
Oh, he threw me out there. Okay. Number one, my favorite producer of all time, DJ Premier,
Awesome.
Ninth Wonder,
Awesome.
um, Jay Dilla, Dre. Now I'm gonna throw somebody. So it might be a tie between Just Blaze and the Alchemist
Okay. Okay.
because Just Blaze don't get his just due. I
Right.
know people like Kanye now because Kanye was influenced under Just Blaze and DJ Premier. People don't know that. You know, um, yeah, they're my top five producers.
Yeah.
Um,
I find myself like going back and listen to the songs by Alchemist, but also looking for artists that they produce because sometimes you just didn't know that the Alchemists were putting in their work.
putting in that work. Come on, man. Mobb Deep, all this stuff. Nas, you can go from Royce to 5'9". I mean, like, it's a lot of people. Jay Dilla, well, Common, Jay Dilla did a lot of stuff people don't know.
Oh yeah, and it's sad. And I think it may be just because of when he when he started doing stuff, I may have not been listening as much. So
What?
when I go back and hear songs that I may have missed, and then find out that he produced them, it's like, oh, I didn't know he did that.
D'Angelo, he produced a lot of Brown Sugar.
See,
You
and
know, people don't know.
yeah, that was one of my favorites. I was heavy into neo soul.
That's another subculture that like influences my storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Just my approach to librarianship. You hear neo soul all the time too.
Hmm. Yep.
That was a good one, man.
Yeah. Well, Brother Allen, I appreciate you coming and joining me today and talking about Blackademia and hip hop culture.
For
Uh,
sure.
Hopefully, we can have some more of these conversations in the future, on a personal level or maybe through some programming and collaboration in some type of way.
You know I'm from Carolina, so ain't nothing to pull up.
All right.
And you got to pull up to Vegas too.
I've never been to Vegas, so I'm gonna have to make that trip.
Oh man, you got to pull up, man. It is a movie.
All right. All right. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and peace out and sign off.
All right, man.